Deb.
So we're all set.
Yeah.
So I'll call the meeting to order. It's my first chair.
Really good. You're doing great so far, Fraser.
At 6:13. Traditional land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose traditional territories we are meeting today. And I'll move for the adoption of the agenda for April 16th, 2024, the Area D Advisory Planning and Heritage Commission meeting be adopted as circulated.
Second.
Carried. The receipt of minutes for January 28th, our previous meeting, January 28th, 2024, Area D Advisory and Planning Heritage Commission minutes have been received. I take it there is no applications outside of the zoning bylaw amendment referral.
Yeah, correct.
So the referral package dated the 28th of March 2024 from Dana Hawkins Planner regarding the proposed bylaw amendments to implement the requirements of the Provincial Bill 44 housing statutes for Residential Development Amendment Act has been received. And I moved and seconded. Moved.
Jump in there, yeah. Oh,
I will move. And can we have questions afterwards? I have a curious question about it.
Yep.
Do you want it now or later? I don't think it's going to change the what we're voting on, but there was one of the points in there where it talks about daycares, and there was a wording change in daycares, and I just was curious to know if that is strictly reserved to daycares for young children, or is there any consideration for adult daycare situations? Has the RDCK ever considered that? Because it was specific to young children.
I can ask Dana. I'll add that as a question for Dana.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't feel like I have much information to offer on this. I sort of read through the revised terms that are in the bylaw, but it's just so much.
Yeah.
And there's so many. So I just want to say that Dana did comment that if the APHCs have questions, it's possible that she could do a Zoom with all of them. It's also just hard for her to go to each.
Yeah.
To 8 different ones. But if you have questions, I'll note them and then get them to Dana and then get back to you. So
that was the only question I had. I was just curious to know if there is such a bylaw that refers to for seniors or adult daycaring situations, because that was specific to young children.
Okay, I'll note it.
Okay. Any other questions? No?
No, just a clarification then. So the amendments that we have are the amendments that the RDCK staff have made relative to how Bill 44 would apply in the RDCK?
Yeah, exactly. So Dana has done these amendments, and I think they need to go through, I think it's June, that they need to be passed in a new bylaw. And it's just how the new legislation relates to regional districts.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Well, in that particular area, that's only Ainsworth, that's correct? Yeah.
Yeah, the only bylaw is for that Ainsworth area. So, I mean, it's not like you have too much to comment on there.
Yeah.
Dana was also saying to me that in most of the residential zones already, they're meeting the requirements of a single family dwelling with a suite. There's very few zones in the RDCK that don't permit a house with a suite at minimum. And that is the requirement from that provincial legislation for rural areas, that you are permitted to have a secondary suite. So from what I could see in the update, it was a lot of just modernizing the language, but then also that addition of an accessory dwelling for 2 hectares or larger. So you're permitted to have that accessory dwelling in the form of a carriage house or a cottage suite, which is one of the changes. But yeah, but honestly, Dana would be better to answer it because she was the one working on it.
Yeah.
But from what I could see, it's not like there's a real increase in density. There's just a bit more flexibility on your options for what you could have on your site, not just that suite, but if you have 2 hectares or more, you could have that carriage house.
That's what the wording seemed to indicate, which is a good direction.
Was it sorry,
1 hectare or greater?
Yeah.
You could have, 2 units, but there's more flexibility with the detached accessory dwelling. If you have any questions, though, I can put them to her.
Yeah. It just seems like overall there's not a whole lot to comment on from what after I read it. I just thought, hey, if there's any increase in density in Ainsworth, I guess I support that, because I think they probably, with the tourism industry and the demand for accommodation, I just think that it's probably needed. Anything that can meet increase the supply, to me, is a good thing. I know others are against any kind of density increase, but I think it's a good idea.
Well, if tourism is their main thing in Ainsworth, they don't have large tracts of farming land there.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, and we're in a situation where it's difficult to get housing for those that are working in the industry to
Absolutely
have it roll along.
Yeah.
It looks like someone from the public joined us and has a question in the chat.
Okay.
I thought that Bill 44 only applied to municipalities right now.
I believe that's why we are doing this, because Bill 44, the Housing Amendment Act, it does apply to regional districts, but what they've asked to be implemented is different. But that would be a question for Dana, and then if you want to follow up with an email to me or to the planning department, I could talk to Dana and get back to you. But as far as I know, this, as what was written in the referral, is to implement the requirements of the Provincial Bill 44 Housing Statutes Amendment Act.
One of the questions that I have is relative to the comprehensive land use bylaw itself. Like, will this Bill 44 impact that going forward in any way, or what process would there be to determine if there would be any possible impact on the club? the comprehensive
Sorry,
land.
Jerry, can you repeat that and I'll note
Yeah.
it down?
Well, there's the comprehensive land use bylaw
Mhm.
for area D, and I'm wondering, you know, how does this new bill, or the bill 44, how does it impact what's stated in the comprehensive land use bylaw in terms of the various communities in area D? So will there be a process where there is some review of the comprehensive land? And maybe Amy would be the better person to speak to that, Amy Watson, Director Watson. That's perhaps a question for her, and she could answer that for us. But that was one question I had, because that's our guiding document for land use.
Yeah, and
Zoned
so
area.
we're talking about amending the official community plan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the province, and I don't know the specifics of the legislation, but the province now has set out new regulations where the official community plans need to be updated every, I think it's 5 years. So right now, I think, and that would be a good question for Amy, because I think the directors are looking at what the approach is going to be for the regional district with those official community plans, just because there are so many areas, and if they're to have to be updated more regularly. And I'm not sure how old your OCP is, but many of them are quite outdated anyways. So I think that's part of what's going on right now with the directors and the planning department, is figuring out the approach for modernizing the bylaws, or possibly, the OCP, and possibly like what regional strategy do they have for planning? Like, will there be a regional approach, or
Okay. Yeah, I just throw that out there because that's something I'm sure all of the commissioners will want to know, because it would obviously lead to more stakeholder consultation, etc.
Mm-hmm. And I'll ask Dana about the specifics, and then I can email you the APHC, her response.
Sure. Thank you.
Any further comments?
No, that's it for me.
Moved into resolve that area. It says area J, area D, advisory and planning heritage committee, or commission rather, support or not support the proposed RDCK bylaw amendments specific to electoral area D in the zoning bylaw amendments referral from planner Dana Hawkins to implement the requirement of the provincial Bill 44 housing statutes for residential development amendment act. We support. Seconded and carried.
So that was all support?
Support, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, support. Sorry. Any further questions from the public attending today?
I'll note your concerns. So I've noted that your comment that we see that the legislation is trying to develop a conduit through the regional OCP to take away the individual plan.
Okay.
I don't understand that. Can you clarify that concern at all, Laura?
I think maybe they're concerned that because right now there's OCPs, several OCPs in the different electoral areas.
Yes.
And I think it's that, yeah,
Lose
they've
autonomy.
commented losing autonomy. And I guess that's up to the directors really, and constituents talking to their directors, because it's the director's voice that will ultimately be the one deciding on whether or not it's a regional OCP or, a regional strategy or for each community.
Yeah, and I think that I would echo that same concern is that, would everything from the Bill 44 amendment or the Bill 44 automatically kind of supersede the official community plans in the various areas? And I would think not, but it wouldn't naturally cascade into those plans. I think it would be, I would expect it would be determine what is and what is not appropriate and how to modify the official community plans that are currently in place through an iterative process of stakeholder consultation, et cetera, in terms of what the citizens want to see in place. In other words, how to revise the existing official community plans or not, vis-a-vis Bill 44. Because there are some, there's basically it appears to provide for some increases in density depending on land parcel size and so on. I think that there is a trend to increase density, increase housing, right?
Yes, but more specifically in the municipalities. I mean, it's harder in the regional area because of the lack of servicing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can only create density to the point that Interior Health is going to allow you to install your septic systems, and they have their best practices, and your water source and provincial regulations around pulling from groundwater or surface water. So,
it's subject to and constrained by various things. So no, that's good. Thank you.
But I'll note these comments from the member of the public. Okay.
Any further questions from the public? If not, the next meeting for the Area D Advisory Planning and Heritage Commission is scheduled for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. And if that is everything for this evening, I'll move for adjournment.
Motion.
Carried. Meeting is adjourned at 6:33 p.m.
6:33. Okay, thanks.
Nice job there, Fraser.
Good job, Chair.
Thanks, Fraser.
You're very welcome. Thanks, everybody.
See you in May.
Thanks, Laura.
Bye.
Yeah,
Good to
thank
see
you,
you
Laura.
again.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.